inflammation of his thumb, and it was $4,000 because he didn't think of anything of it at the time.
Okay, one other question, and I'm all done. I was always under the assumption it was under workman's comp, that even if I was at home, out the street, whatever, if I was injured, the first day of the hospital or the 8th day home sick, I was covered.
Okay, workers' comp is like no-fault insurance. And if you're injured while you're on the job, and you could be on the job down on I-5 repairing the sign on the billboard, and you're on the job, because you were assigned to drive over there and fix the signboard and come back. I don't know if that'll ever happen, but let's say it did. You're on the job and you're covered. But if you're at home and injured, workers' comp does not cover you. That's where your own medical, FHP or
Has this changed?
No.
Well, I have a case where I had an operation, and the first day I went to the hospital, workman's comp started paying my bill.
Okay, I can't answer that. I really don't want to go into it on the details. And if it's on the job,
No.
okay.
Well, not even job related.
Okay, you
But they
got away.
paid.
You got away with it. Okay.
My wife, same thing. Every time anybody's ever gone to the hospital, fill out the workman comp papers and they start paying.
Did you go to Maryland Hill or
No.
Karen Shook now, or did you go to First Aid?
Oh, this is just, when I was working for the contractors in construction,
Construction's, I don't know what they're doing.
workman's comp.
The disability? maybe?
Well,
Disability.
yeah, I can't answer that, Ron.
That's probably
We could discuss it
disability.
separately, but that is not the case, or not the rule.
Okay.
Okay, we've been talking about workers' comp. It's time for a break. Before we do, any other questions on workers' comp? 'Cause when we return, then we're going to get into what you guys are going to do about this. Okay, let's go to break. Let me discuss Saturday morning with you. Just last Saturday morning. It was an interesting day. I had my first event was great. It was positive. I was able to go to operations, and I met with their ride supervisors. I think they call them ASRs, and I congratulated them because on the night before, one of the operators heard something, saw something weird on the lift at Corkscrew, immediately shut down, got maintenance over there, and they found a broken link in the chain. The chain still operated there's two links, one on the right-hand, left-hand side. So it still operated, but they just, that instantaneous thing they heard. And hey, it's super. These guys, these kids, are the eyes and ears of those rides. And no matter how good a job our maintenance people can do, our maintenance people aren't there all the time. But these kids are. And they know that they can, it's like your personal car. You know if you got a new rattle in the right-hand wheel or not. That's how the kids operate. And it's really super. And I was able to compliment them, and I think that's great. But the rest of the morning was all downhill. I went by the Loop Trainer. I kind of made a trip through the park and various things. I went by the Loop Trainer. And a month ago, we put in a work order through a little different, not through work order system, but through the operations system. There's some wood decking, and it had 2 or 3 holes of just dry rot in this wood decking. And people walk over this every day. Every time, half the guests that get on this ride have to go over this particular area. It was put in to be repaired, replaced, and it still existed a month later, at least a month. And that shouldn't happen. It should have been replaced before the next day that thing went into operation. And not only on that ride, we already have a suit for $35,000 in that ride where a guest, in getting out of one of the cars, fell in between a gap that was no more leg or heel slipped into a gap. It was no more than this. Fractured her ankle. It's very, very serious. And right on that same ride. And operations knows it. And something like this is still existing. A little further. Actually, earlier in the morning, I'd seen they're tarring the roof on First Aid and security in that area, which is great because we have leaks. It makes us very happy that they're doing this. Now, it was very early in the morning, like quarter of 7, and there was no problem, no people in the area. When I got back there at 11 o'clock, here was this guy right over the First Aid door. Everybody knows where the front door of the First Aid is, right? And he's got the truck parked about 10 feet away. That's the closest you can get the truck because there's some planters in there. And he's shoveling debris off this roof. This is 11 o'clock in the morning, right? Saturday morning, shoveling it off and heaving it across this 10-foot span into the back of this stake bed truck.
He didn't get the truck.
He missed the truck, didn't he? Okay. And he was very nice. Hey, I said, hey, you gotta stop. You can't do this. You gotta stop. Oh, I do? Oh, the people, oh yeah, okay. And he stopped. Now, what should have happened? Somebody, some supervisor, wasn't doing his job. Some supervisor didn't properly prepare this contractor, because that should never have occurred. We're damn lucky. Of course, I called 3 times to get his guys out there to sweep up some of it so it'd be clean up front.
You're above supervisor
They did
there.
finally show up.
You're above supervisors there. We have no control over contractors.
Did you tell the same story Monday?
Yes, sir. Okay. Oh, yes. Ron Hendra knows better. Jim, let me say something. On contractors, they work for us. We are the customer, the contractor is the client. Excuse me. Is the person that's doing the survey. Give me a name. I can't think of the word. We're the customer, he's the vendor. We have a right to demand for him to operate properly in our park. We have the absolute right, and if the contractor is screwing up something in anything, whether he's the guy who's cleaning up the vents, by God, he better get those vents clean, and if he doesn't, he either comes and cleans it out or he's out. And he don't get paid, because that CDR can go up any minute in a flame because they're not cleaning up the grease off the vents. And if he's a roofing contractor and he's dropping stuff on guests, better, by God, you have the right, if not to go to the contractor, because that's really not maybe your area, but boy, you have the right to say right now, hey, security, hey, Ron Hendra, you got a contractor that's doing this, you better get out there now. And Ron Hendra will, I guarantee you.
Well, I'm just saying, you said that we should tell him, but we don't have the right to tell him that.
Okay, you may not feel, depending, maybe he's got an outfit in here, NBC Studios, you may not be able to go to the director and say, hey, go over here, not here. Certainly, you may have to go through somebody.
But you know, on weekends, there ain't nobody here because peons.
Okay, and us peons went out, what's another thing we did, us peons?
You had
Saturday morning.
Plumbers put up barricades.
Plumbers became carpenters. Where's John Riker this morning? I wanted to give him a bad time. Okay, but we made the plumbers carpenters, I'm sorry, Jim.
Oh, no problem.
On Saturday morning.
Probably better than the ones I got.
Because I went to the mine ride, and we got a secret building going on behind the mine ride in Cloud 9. You guys aren't
Secret
supposed to know
building?
about it. There's a secret building being going back there, right?
Quit, we should work orders then.
Anyway, I went back there and it's demolished, and they got holes in the ground all over the place. And there's no way to get out of the mine ride from the north end of that building, through the emergency exit. There was no way to get out. I mean, the guests would have dumped in a hole as big as this. And you get 40 guests in there, maybe. I don't know, if you pile them right. We made a little emergency exit, something that the supervisor, one of our supervisors, was responsible for doing. I'm just
Get with the supervisor bit, go to superintendent.
excuse me.
Go to the manager. And you gotta get the right term.
Get up in the higher brackets here.
We are responsible for doing that. Us, all of us supervisors, for that type of thing.
We're covering
Is
up
that
for them.
okay? Huh?
We're covering for them.
If you help me, I appreciate it. Yeah. Hey, we're all in the business together. We want to make it right. What else did I do on that day? Glider Diner. Ron was here. I was able to tackle on several things. We just did a change of planner, and we put in new AC, and the sun is so soft, it's like walking in sand. And trucks have been driving over, and there's holes as big as this box and half as deep. And it's been 2 or 3 weeks, and I am sure I got a work order in to replace that one particular hole, and now it's full of holes. But as I was going through the park, here I was seeing all these good little things. I went on top of the show, Good Time Theater, and looked down, and there's an arrow on the roof, which I then took over and handed to one of the McCoys and said, I'll trade you this for an eyeball any day. We're working on that one also. So, it's the first arrow in a long time, but it was there. Hey, I got frustrations, guys. I'm going through this because I want you to hear me out a little bit. Here's one of my frustrations. I go through the park, and this in one day, these are what I pick up. And it sounds really ridiculous, but you can have that. Since you're the painters, I'm going to give you that, Bob. And I know you're not a welder, but electricians are to God anyway. And I'll give you a couple of these. You can have this. In fact, no, let me give you these, because this is your damn project. Okay, and I don't have anything for the bank, so I'm just gonna give you a little of this, okay?
Hey, seriously, Jeff, the corner.
Okay, give you a couple rocks.
Yeah,
Jeff?
I'm in a meeting.
Okay, what else I got? A washer
Oh, which one now?
for reproductions. I don't have anything really for reproductions. I'll give you a couple more rocks.
Probably the fence that they put out there.
These dumb little rocks are all over this place. Absolutely all over. I can't believe it. We've had 2 employees, and thank God it was employees not guests, fracture their ankles since Christmas on little dumb little rocks.
For the, thing going on.
Nothing else wrong, but the dumb little rock.
Stuff's going.
I should give you this too. Something like this. Dumb little screw
Number?
and welding rod. God, you know, one of the first, you know how the Egyptians made the pyramids? They had a whole bunch of rollers and they rolled all these great big blocks on it. And these are super rollers. You scan around, I think what you got.
Thanks a lot.
Bob, I'm sorry, but I had to collect that for from our circus event. And your chain link contractor, he's not my contractor. The roofing contractor, somewhere was over here, here's some asphalt stuff he left. Nobody cleans up after themselves. None of your crews do. Although the carpenter, who's the tall, thin guy who was working on the new pavement? Real tall. Dick? Okay. He did clean up after himself, but he saw me picking this stuff up and he was going, just ahead of me, picking up his stuff. Maybe he's doing a good job. But, hey, most of you guys are doing a good job. You want to do the right job. But everybody's leaving this junk all over the place. Every contractor, when they leave, there's holes, there's gravel all over the place. I don't know where all this gravel comes from, but you walk anywhere in the park and you're gonna pick up rock. Now, Jim, maybe your trucks go around and they're full of gravel and they bounce out. And maybe, I don't know, maybe you plan this. Maybe you like to be frustrated. But just in one thing, it's just picking up after a job. It'll sure make his job easier and his job easier if you guys, the rest of you guys, pick up after yourselves. Because they can't do it all. Every one of you have to do it. You see these posters, keep your park clean, what's it say?
It's your park.
It's your park, keep it clean. Okay, I don't know where they came. Did they come out of Larry McDaniel's or did they come?
Right, Larry McDaniel's office.
Okay, and what they're asking for is, hey, help us. There's no way that his, I don't know what to do. His, what, 40 people?
49.
And his 50 or so can't do everything in this park. They can't. They can't follow you around.
I brought this up in our staff meeting, particular, it goes back to me, is that I ask for cooperation, because we come out there and we find each individual that works in the shops may leave a job, we're not aware of it. You know, we're more than happy to take care of it if we plan for it, you know. Hey, just leave me a note, and I still have a board that's in security, or call facilities when they're still here. So we'll follow anything up, but the thing is that when we don't see it, you know, then it's left.
Benches are used for barricades, they're not put back. Barricades are left up. No offense to the paint shop, but they put wet paint signs up. Saturday morning come around, they're not around, the signs are still up.
They were wet when we left on Friday.
Okay, and that's a good point. And guys, we have a new, a little change in the OM procedure. There's a new fellow came on board called Joe Meck. And I think you'll hear more from the OMs from now on. I feel sorry for you because you're gonna have calls and won't quit.
Well,
But that's okay. All he's doing is looking out for us. The wet paint signs, great, I guess if you have to have them, but they've gotta come down at some reasonable time. Maybe what you do is say, hey, Bill, would you take them down Saturday morning? It could be something you could do.
Yeah.
You know, it's something,
Work.
if you start thinking through the process of what has to go on, maybe you can think these things out.
Mhm.
When a contractor leaves, even if he leaves a note for God, what's your name?
Roger.
I'm sorry, Roger. Leaving a note for Roger won't do it. If it's 2 o'clock in the afternoon and we got people here until 1 o'clock that night, and Roger doesn't come on until midnight, then the contractor's gotta clean up after himself. You can see I don't really like contractors. That's not really true.
I agree with you, I don't like them either.
I really, they're very good people. And they are willing, from the people I've talked to, they are very willing to help. The roofer, more than cooperative. Craig at the new employee cafeteria behind Cloud 9, that secret building, He's more than helpful. When I went to him and said, hey, I wanna build this little thing, he said, okay. I went to him a week ago, yeah, great. So I put in and said, hey, it's an emergency, it's gotta be done. A week later, it's not done. And they're offering the ride. And hey, we could have a problem. This winds could knock down a power pole, which would put him out of power at the mine ride, and he'd have to take the people through there. He has emergency lighting now, so at least they can see. But once they got out the door, they fall in this pit. The contractor's really cooperative. I think they will do. If we ask them to do these things, say, you've got to do this, and maybe you've got to follow up, but they're more than happy to do it. Okay, so where are we? You've seen my frustrations, but Cal OSHA has mandated that we have a safety program, an accident prevention program. And they really say three things. You've got to train your employees, you have to have regular inspections, and then you must expand upon that depending upon your operation. And that's a very gray area, what is expanding upon. I'm not too sure that I can tell you all. But you gotta do more, go beyond that where it is warranted. That's Cal OSHA. In this little booklet, there's a little thing in Cal OSHA and what the rights are for employees and employer. The employee has the right to a safe workplace, just as our guest has a right to a safe park. The employee has the right to be trained and instructed in the hazards of his job. He has the right to say, hey, wait a minute, I don't want to do that job. I don't want to get hurt. I'm afraid it's hazardous. He has the right to say that. And at that point, you have a responsibility to show him why it's safe to do or to improve that particular area so that it's not hazardous for him to do his job. The employee has these rights, and we have the responsibilities to provide for these rights. There's a policy and procedure. It's 1978. Nothing new. Didn't come from Fritzy and something I just dreamt up. And it's a safety policy, and it has the responsibilities of the director and the division, of management, the supervisor, and the employee. Section 3E goes into each supervisor will. There are 11 points. How many of you have seen there's 11 points? Here's one. Great. Okay, you can read these in your own time. I know you know all how to read, so I don't have to go over them. But we're going to go over 5 areas. Bob White, in his training on unions, used an acronym, TIPS. What does TIPS stand for? What does TIPS stand for? Anybody in the union thing? You've all been through it. Threaten, huh? T is for threaten, right? And I, interrogate. P, what's P? Promises. You can't make promises, can you? Right? And S, the last one you all know. What? Spy, right? Okay, these are things that you may not do during this union organization, right? Okay, in safety we have an acronym. Same letters. He's got tips. Remember this because he's going to quiz you on this later as you get down into here. It's PITS, P-I-T-S, PITS. You guys are supposed to laugh. It's supposed to be funny. Laugh, please. Okay. PITS, procedures. I've covered these two. What will they be? I-N-T.
Inspections.
Inspections, good. And what's the other one?
Training.
Training. Boy, Ron, you've been listening.
I'll read the tabs.
You're resourceful, that's important, that's very good in employee. And S, what's S? Supervision.
I couldn't say it.
It wasn't on the tabs, right? Well, we had to throw in something. Procedures, inspections, training, and supervision. We've already said, hey, Cal OSHA mandates inspections and training. Mandates. Let's go in through inspections. What are inspections? Particularly in your maintenance areas. In your area, and your area, Roger, It's daily. You've got to inspect your areas daily, and in fact, you're doing it every 20 minutes, and you're doing it every 30 and 45 minutes. You've got to do that to prepare for our guests. It's just something we have to do. In your facilities areas, there may be some things you need to, obviously I've already covered, when you're through with the job, you need to make an inspection to be sure that it's cleaned up and ready for the next person to come on, whether it's an employee or a guest. But you should be going through your area on a weekly basis at least to see that things are safe. Some of your other areas, repro. At least weekly you want to go through the whole shop and see what's going on. Dell, after you're through with a project, as you're finishing that project, you may have 10 projects in 2 weeks and 1 project in 2 months. At the end of that project, you've got to be sure that it's ready to go for whoever. You need a checklist. You better have a checklist, particularly as you're making this inspection once a week. You probably want to think through and say, hey, I got a checklist for this project. What should it look like? You know, what do I need to check after I'm through with the job to be sure you're cleaned up? Get the contour back in the right spot. You got all your stuff picked up. Everything's properly put together. You need to go through your areas and have a checklist. There's an example checklist in here under inspections. This is made for the country store. Jeff Shockey has an excellent one that I will send you. I didn't get into this manual. That will fit more the facilities areas. Go through, now this is designed as a monthly checklist for like the general store. But as you get into areas like in the shops, you want to go through your shops at least once a week to be sure that everything's really in order, everything's straightened out. You're looking for those unsafe conditions, for unsafe practices that your employees are performing. You're looking at housekeeping. And once you find these conditions, don't just make a note of it. Be sure that you do that process of getting it corrected. Go through and see that if it's a physical thing, a guard missing, a fire extinguisher is missing, whatever, be sure and make a correction so that whatever is wrong will be rectified. If it takes a work order, it's going to take a work order. That's you are doing this. Jeff Shockey and Jim Wagner are going through every facility at least once a month. Every facility they see, because they've got to sign off the extinguishers in your facility. But no way can they cover the entire shop. You guys know your operation. Your people, you understand the equipment you're using. Jeff and Jim may or may not understand that equipment. There's nobody better but you to make this checklist. Be sure that you set up to have the corrections made. On training, we perform several different types of training on the farm. When a new hire comes in, he's hit before he even comes on the job for seasonal and some of the part-time positions. In a permanent position, in a lot of your areas, they may not get it for about a month, but there is an orientation training. An orientation about what Knott is about, some of the basics. The next step he goes through is probably on-the-job training. In most every one of your cases, you're probably taking a new guy, putting him right next to a guy that's been here for a while and saying, well, you show him what to do. That may be all he gets, but it's on-the-job training. When you bring in a craftsman, you expect your craftsman already to know certain things. An electrician or a painter or a carpenter, you expect them to be professional as they come in. And so then you have to train him on some of the procedures and policies at Knott's. Things that are different than what he's going to find throughout on his past work experience. You're fortunate. He gets a brand new spanking new kid, 18 years old, or 17 years old, who's never punched a time card, never been on a job.
Doesn't know how to write his name.
Doesn't know how to read and write. He's never done a damn thing at home. My kids don't, so I'm sure that you get a lot of them. You're going to do on-the-job training. You're going to bring a person up to some speed, right? There are certain other training that they might get on their job, but probably won't. They probably won't get any real training on fire unless you bring it up to them. They're not going to get training on what to do in an emergency. They're not going to get training on the right way to handle a particular piece of equipment unless you see to it. We have vehicle training. The guys have to have a license before they drive a vehicle. Be sure your guys get them. And they're not going to get them. They won't even know they exist unless you tell them. One of the things we're asking you to do is do safety training with your people. Train them on the equipment, train them on the procedures that they're supposed to follow. I put in the book, it's called tailgate training. That's a construction term. You can call it anything you want. If you want to call it safety training, great. If you just want to call it training, great. But you better take your guys aside, particularly in the crafts areas. Most importantly, possibly in your area, it depends on the equipment. But certainly you want to take every person through the machines that they're going to have to handle. And you can do it as a group. And it doesn't have to say, you don't have to say safety once when you're training them on a particular press. But you have to tell them that, hey, the sequence is A, B, C. And this is why. Because if you don't do it A, B, C, but you do it A, C, B, this could happen. You blow a fuse, right? Or you get your hand caught in there. You never wear long sleeves around the machine. Whatever you know the machine. I don't. We've got a piranha in the machine shop. And a piranha is a fish that eats people, right? And hey, we just did a little tailgate safety meeting. We didn't. The machine shop did. Marv did. And he learned things about that machine that he never thought about. And he spent 10 minutes with the guys and went through that. And I'm asking you to take your areas. Maybe you only go once a month and have a 10-minute with your people. Be sure they know fire. It's one of the things I fear most in this park. But you are going to take your people every week and spend that 10 minutes and talk about lockout. And by God, they better lock out every time they're working on a piece of equipment. You may even want to talk about lockout because you may be working on equipment that could be moving, and you want that dead. Jim, you're going to be talking to your people about table saws and about handling large pieces of equipment, how to lift. Every one of you. These are pretty much common in your areas. And every week, you can pick a subject. It's really easy. It sounds like, God, I can't do that. Well, hey, I just gave a 10-minute safety talk on leaving crap around, right? And cleaning up afterwards. That's one. We did this fire thing before. Just what do you call? 333. Get that down. That's another one. The slide thing that we started to show, but we didn't finish. How to use a fire extinguisher. That's one. Okay, we've just done 3, and they're real simple. You know how to do them now because you saw me do such a great job, right? You guys need to do it weekly. You may be weekly. You may do it, I don't know how many employees you have. Is it you? 2. Okay. He's going to cover a little differently, obviously. You may have, once a month, you're going to have to go through something. Don't use drum waders to get from the bottom level up into the ticket booths. That type of thing. It's stupid, but they'll do it if you tell them, what is it, don't eat the daisies? There's a film on that. You have maybe once a month. But you want to spend that 10 minutes. And once you've done it, record it. Get the guys' names. Use a sheet similar to this, a piece of paper, anything. Put down the date, what the subject was, and who was there. That's all you need, 3 things. We've got lots of these if you want them, but you can just use a piece of paper. And you keep it in your file. If you're going to do a one-on-one, you training one guy, stick it in his file. If you're going to do it by a group like this, take it and put it in a standard file. Just a training file, just as I say, training, and keep it. Records are really super important. It's CYA. And we're going to be asking you for, someday there's going to be an accident. We're going to come to you, maybe with Cal OSHA or with the insurance company, and say, was the guy training this job? You say, sure, you can pull it out and show them. Do you do regular housekeeping inspections? Sure, you can pull it out and show them. You can tell by these photographs that regular housekeeping inspections aren't being made.
Don't step on that rocky knuckle.
Don't step it. Oh, God. Thank you very much, Jim. You're very observant.
You should have picked it up.
But you
and
can
went by.
tell that somebody's not doing his regular housekeeping, and I'll bet you they're not recording it. I'll pick up my rock.
Where'd Buddy go?
I know. I'm sorry that Buddy left. I have some pictures of
That coward.
You gotta know that
Okay.
you where that's at.
somebody's not doing his job, and it's the supervisor. It's not the employees out there, but the supervisor that's saying it's done. Keep records of your inspections. Keep records of your training. Keep records. Hey, when you've got to follow up on training, let's say that you've gone through the process. You've told the guy, hey, here's how you do it. You show him, hey, this is why you're learning this. You see to it that the employee understands and starts doing it, and then you follow up. You always follow up. And if the employee is not following your procedures, by God, show him how to do it right. If he's doing your procedures, compliment him. If your employees are driving through the park with their foot hanging out, I don't know why, but all the drivers, they always have one foot outside the car. I don't know what it is
You ever
around
drive
here.
our cars? You
Yeah,
can't sit in there hardly.
You can hardly sit in it, right. But there's always one foot out. Hey, a guy in entertainment, back in September, October, had his one foot out. It struck the tracks as they were coming by Good Time Theater, and he crushed it. Not a real serious injury, but he crushed it because he kept his foot out. But you've got to discipline him. And if it's 1, 2, 3, hey, the first time is, hey, don't do it again. This is how you do it. Be sure you do it. Get it in writing the second time and get him to sign it. And I don't know if we're on a 1, 2, 3 and you're out. I don't know if that's totally fair. It depends on the type of thing. But you've got to certainly discipline and get it in writing and get it on a record. One of these days, somebody's going to ask you, well, hey, he's driving with his foot out. Have you ever, oh yeah, and you can't prove that because you don't have it in writing, and he's got an injury. And hey, Cal OSHA can get real sticky at that. Our insurance company, they yell at me all the time. But Cal OSHA is going to pick on you guys, and they can fine us. We are subject to a fine. Be sure and document it. Do it and then document it. Any question on inspections and training and keeping good records of that? No questions. Okay. Part of procedures that you're going to be following, one thing is you want to have procedures in writing, the rules. I'm giving you a whole bunch, particularly for your area, maintenance, more so than others. But here's a whole bunch of rules. There's no way you can study them all, so take one at a time and then you can hold a meeting on it. But you need to set up the rules in your area. Sweepers should have some basic rules. You don't twirl a broom in the park. You're going to hit somebody on the head.
You don't point with it either.
Okay, you don't point with it either. There are certain basics. You want to be sure that your guy's trained in it. You got the procedures down that you even know what they're supposed to do. You want to be sure that your people know about fire and how to get people out of a building. On procedures, if an accident happens, we're going to hit you and say, we want you to make an investigation. Remember the pink sheet that we had earlier? We want you to make an investigation. And you're going to get this, and hopefully it'll be a white sheet, the original copy. We don't want you to do it from your desk. Go to where the accident happened. Talk to the people that were involved. Get the information. Find out. There's got to be a reason for an accident to occur. It just doesn't happen. Accidents just don't happen. Are you in control of your own actions? Everybody? Yes. You got up this morning, you brushed your teeth, you put on your clothes, obviously, because everybody's got your clothes on. You got to work somehow, probably by car. You controlled every one of those because you could have stayed in bed. And I know you all brushed your teeth, although you wouldn't have had to because you're all sitting, well, I don't know, you're sitting alone there. Okay, you got your clothes on, I can see them, but you didn't have to. You know, hey, it's better that you do than you don't. But you didn't have to do these things. You control your own actions. Every action you make, you control. If that's true, how can there be an accident? How could you ever be in an accident? You control what you do. Granted, if you're tooling down the freeway and everything's real smooth, you know, there's plenty of room, you got your 2-second rule, 2 seconds between you and the car ahead, everybody's else in their own lane, minding their own business. Now this guy crashes a meteor, hits you on the hood, that's an accident you can't prevent. But all accidents, 99.99% of the accidents are preventable because you control what's going on, right? No. Well, it's a good theory anyway, isn't it?
It's a good
You
theory.
do control what's going on. You really do. If you think about it, this thing can be picked up and somebody's not going to trip and fall. These rocks can be picked up or not get there in the first place. You control that. You control, or your people do.
Now, you can only control so much as you are in the area, but other people can help also control.
Okay, good. In other words, you have to depend upon your people, so you've got to get it down to them. And how do you get it down to them? How do they know that they got to pick up rocks? Because you're gonna hold a 5-minute safety meeting and say, hey guys, when you see a rock on the ground, pick it up. And you tell them why and what to look for and stuff. When you're doing an accident investigation, ask the 5 W's and an H. What, where, when, how, and who. I missed something. But it's all in here, so you can just look it up, right? It's right here. What to do. Here's even sample questions to ask. Make a good investigation. Find out what happened, because in most cases, 99.9% of them, you're going to be able to find something that caused it and work on that correction. It's really important to get that thing corrected. We want good accident investigations. 2 years from now, I'm going to come and say, hey, I just lost it. Hey, you know, you made your inspection, you found this to happen, and we're going to have an attorney here, and he's going to put it in front of you and say, okay, is this your handwriting? Yes, sir. Is that your name? Yes, sir. He's going to start throwing questions about that accident to you. The better accident investigation you make, the better your memory is going to be refreshed. We're going to be referring to that in interrogatories, and I get them. Interrogatories is from the plaintiff's attorney. It's this thick. It's got 99 questions, and you can verify that with Barbara Wharton. She's finishing one now. 99 questions about the condition of Good Time Theater when a woman who was walking down the aisleway, so I guess pushed her, she jammed her finger into the wall and broke it. Stupid! And we have a suit, and I got 99 questions I've had to answer on that darn thing. And I'm gonna go back to you and say, well, you know, hey, can you help me clarify this, because I got a question. Roger's shaking his head because we had all kinds of questions on the cleanliness of it, and who worked there, and he had to take his supervisor's schedules and find out who. And we may have to produce those. I've got a notice to produce on an accident that happened on a motorcycle chase 3 years ago. And I've got to produce every document that exists on it. So we're going to come back 2, 3 years later on that accident report. Maybe not some of the minor ones, but certainly one where a guest is involved or a serious one to an employee. And we're going to be coming back to you for help. Make it a good investigation. Are there any questions on the accident investigations?
Just to keep good records, just as he was interviewing me, I had facts, figures that I could give him pertain to who was at the area and so forth. So always keep good records.
No, I've been involved in a couple of them where they come back 3 years after the fact, and they wanna know about the lighting in the area 3 years ago. If it's not documented at the time, you're trying to second guess what went on 3 years ago when the report was filled out. It becomes very difficult.
Excellent thought, yes. I have asked. Cable car tracks, we had a slip and fall in front of Bob's. One of the questions was what the lighting was. And hey, I was going to look and try to figure it all out. And there's street lights and ambient light from the Bob's, and et cetera. Then I looked at the time, and hey, it was still daylight. So I don't know that it really made much difference. So I just said, hey, it's daylight. It was an easy one to flake off. But I don't know what the lights were here 2 years ago in the summer. I have no idea. And I could probably go to Ray, and in some areas he may know, and some areas he doesn't. Or a resident light expert, right?
It's hard. You can't, unless it's done on at the time.
Right.
There's another one, I don't know if it's the same case or not, but I was involved in it. And they asked me how many trees were in that area.
3 years ago.
Yeah,
Right.
how am I supposed to know?
Yeah, it's a bear. And I'm answering those now. They used to be handled by our attorney, but I'm answering them and giving them to the insurance company's attorney. And we've got to be factual. Hey, when your report, it's got to be accurate, it's got to be factual. Bring out all the points you can see. If you need to raise your hand and say, hey, I think we blew it. You don't have to put it in writing. If you don't feel that you want to put it in writing here, get to me, because it's very important that our attorneys know that it's a defensible type of claim, or we have no defense and we should just get out of it. So, one reason we're so successful in court is because we only take those things that we know we can beat to court. Don't forget that. So be complete, and if you, even the smallest thing, we're going to try to follow, on a serious accident, we'll be following up with the EMTs making its investigation. I may get into it depending on the extent of the injury and seriousness of the case. But your help can be a big help in going through these accident investigations. Any other questions on an accident investigation? Okay, we pretty much covered these 3 points. we get to supervisors, supervision, you. It is a theory, it's relatively new in safety, and that's that accidents are a symptom of management. Okay, and that rests it right back on us, because we as supervisors are management. It's not the fault of the poor employee or what the guest did. You know, the guest did a dumb thing, he slipped and fell in. Hey, there's probably something else out there. There's something that management has or hasn't done to allow this to occur. It's they, maybe, not you, that have allowed this to go on. But accidents are a symptom of management. And when you think of that, geez, that's kind of heavy. You know, I don't know if I want to take that burden, but it's real. If you think about some of the accidents your people have had, go back, leaving here, go back and take a couple accidents and think about it. And why did they occur? The word carelessness. The guy was careless. Why is he careless? Hey, was he trained on what to do? Was he really just? People don't want to get. I don't want to get injured. People don't want to get injured. They're not doing it because they want to. They probably are doing it because they don't know any better. They've never been told by you. Okay, Jim's going like this. You got a couple flakes out there, Jim?
Don't we all?
As a good supervisor, Bob's going to go into this further. He talked earlier about being consistent. As a good supervisor, you are the example. If you do it, they're going to do it. If you keep your leg inside the cart, pretty soon, by word of mouth, by them seeing you, they're going to keep your leg inside the car. If you tell guys not to climb this tree, and then you go ahead and climb it, I said, well, he really didn't mean it. Let's go climb a tree. And Jim, I guess you have a couple flakes who just go climb a tree, right? Oh, yeah. Okay. You are the closest to your people. I'm not. Hey, I can't go out there and tell your people, hey, you can't do it this way, do it that way. You guys are the ones who should do that. I'm not. What you raised
Well,
me?
just a while ago, you said we could tell the contractors what to do. Now you're telling you can't tell our people what to do. What makes you so much better than us? That you can't tell me, well, we can go out there and tell a contractor he can't do this.
I want to take the weekend off.
But you can't, well,
Okay.
clarify this.
Right.
I mean, you're contradicting yourself now.
We did say that in some cases, you're gonna have to go back to the guy in charge. You're gonna have to go back to Buddy Toby in entertainment and say, hey, your CBS or NBC or whoever that's doing the taping is got a problem here. Some things you can't go direct.
And you can't do that direct?
I can't go direct to your employees. I'm not gonna have the same effect that you're gonna have. If you're on top of it, you're the ones who can control your employees much better than I do. Hey, you're the guy who's looking over their review.
Yeah,
Now,
but you see
me,
a safety factor being involved, you should take care of it right there on the spot.
if it's hazardous, immediately hazardous, hey, I will. And I hope that every one of you, if you see something immediately hazardous, you're gonna do something right on the spot. But normally, I'm not gonna go around you to your employees. I wanna go to you and say, hey, Jim, look into this. Take care of this. Wouldn't you appreciate that?
You've come
Wouldn't
to me
you?
a few times.
Yes.
Without going to my supervisor.
Me?
Oh,
Well, you don't know how many times I went to your supervisor.
that didn't do as much good as you coming to me direct.
That's interesting. That's an interesting comment on supervision. Well, we got a new supervisor, we'll see how it works, right?
Yeah, you took me off the cat.
Isn't that
Eliminated the problem, didn't
I
you?
eliminated the problem. You're the one that's doing the communications, you're the one that's setting the standards. You're the one who can show your employees how to do it properly. And they're going, hey, they in general respect you. They are going to follow what you say. Hopefully you give them enough leeway that they're going to do a little thinking too and raise their hand and say, well, you told me to do this, but I don't think it's right. And give them that leeway. Give them that leeway to say, hey, I don't think I'd like to do it this way. How about this way? Maybe you still want to do it your way, but you're the guy who's going to be setting those standards. If you take all the attributes that Bob is teaching you later in supervision and apply them to safety and never use the word safety, I don't care. It's an overused word, an overworked word. All you have to do is show and train your people in the right way of doing things. I don't know the right way in every time. I have no idea how to run your front end loader, whatever you call it. I have no idea how to run her presses. The guillotine scares me to death. I've got to depend upon her to tell me that it's right. I don't know.
You don't
I can
understand
question it, but I don't know.
See, I've got a real problem then. Because here I'm gonna try to train a guy to do something sacred, and he's watching me do it the wrong way for so many years.
That's why you're here. Let's, just to recap, as you're the supervisor, hey, you control your people. You've got to make inspections, you've got to keep your records, you've got to train your people, because if you don't, nobody else is going to. You've got to have your procedures down, figure out what they've got to be. You know, it's really, it's on your back. And I think that, you know, you can do it without saying the word safety. You don't have to call it a safety meeting. Train them in your equipment. Okay, are there any questions? We've covered a heck of a lot of material. I can give you help in these little training sessions I'm asking you to put on. I can help you in those. There in one page here is ideas that you can use for your 5-10 minute talks. In another page is things that we already have canned talks or canned programs that you can use. I'm going to be locating down to Mr. Knott's old trailer, the old Mr. Knott, whatever. Down to Mr. Knott's trailer, we will have the access of a conference room that we can use for running BD films or whatever turns you guys on. So we can do that at proper times because 16 millimeter is a good means of some of the programs that are already prepared on safety glasses, on safety shoes, on I don't know, respirators, etc. And so we'll be setting that up. So I can give you help, but it's up to you guys. Any other questions? No other questions? It's 11:30, it's lunchtime.
No question, but I got a suggestion or?
Make a suggestion.
Some time ago, Jim Wagner and I had collaborated on our sweepers being involved in the fire extinguisher situation. That seemed to bog down mainly because one day, three shifts going and you got 16, 17 areas, so 3 times 17, you got that many sweepers to indoctrinate. Like you say, we're afraid of fires. I know all the people in the shops know where their fire extinguishers are. If we could get all our people coordinated where fire extinguishers are, we could get rid of the fires in the plastic barrels and things like this. And I think that's a difficult job to be able to do it.
Okay. There's 2 parts of it. One is, maybe most of the people have been through the little slide.
Yes.
Sometime. And then locating extinguishers. Jim, can you work with Bill and see what we can do in that?
I have
That can be done.
I have a list, maybe the extinguisher's been changed or what have you. The problem is, as I say, we have so many people at different times in these areas, it's difficult to get through to everybody where these
Right.
extinguishers are. And also the fire hoses in the airfield eatery.
Okay, what we would prefer your people from a fire standpoint is using extinguishers. And I think that Bill, Jim, why don't you get with Bill and see what you can work out with him if it takes a couple night sessions, we can work that out with you. Any other questions?
Just that it's very important for, especially in his situation and mine, pertaining to, all of the fire extinguishers are well situated in each area. But say that one of his boys, or say in an incident at night, someone from a different area grab an fire extinguisher and go to that area, which may be the wrong fire extinguisher to put out a fire. Because you've got the CBR, where you cannot use only certain type of grease.
Okay. Of course, that's one of the reasons we want to get everybody through the little slide program we're doing. We are going to be doing some more hands-on extinguisher training mid-May, right, Jim? Dave Myers will be coming to do that hands-on training, and we'll get that information out to you early enough so you can, and we'll make it diverse enough so that people can go to the various sessions if they so choose. Okay, nothing's free. This is the test. It's an open book, do it at home test. You're not going to do it here. I would like you to return it to Bob next,
I want you to return it to Bob next.
Wednesday, if you will. It's very straightforward. Hopefully all the points we've covered, some we may not have. And if there are any questions on it, I will can get back to you on that and give them to Bob, and then we can get the answers to you. I will grade them, and then I will send you the answers. So you'll have the answers to these. These cover really the whole gamut of safety and gets into supervision. And it kind of it introduces you into some of the other portions that we're going to be discussing in the next few weeks.